Few days ago, a bag was auctioned off for 8.6 million euros, and now I'm existential. Welcome back to PopScope, the Hindu's pop culture podcast. I'm your host Moksha, and today we are going to delve into the world of luxury fashion brands because let's be real, no one should be spending that much money, roughly 86 crore rupees, on a handbag. Rest in peace, Karl Marx. Also, Time magazine released its list of top 100 creators. So we'll take a look at their list. And if you're feeling particularly enthusiastic, write to us at podcast@thehindu.co.in with 10 creators who'd make it to your list because I'm curious to see the trends in the influencer market right now. To an average Joe like me, the bag that was auctioned off for 8.6 million euros at Sotheby's in Paris looks like just any other bag I'd see on the road. It's just a run-of-the-mill black leather bag. But according to many fashion enthusiasts, the history the bag carries seems to warrant the price. This bag, as it turns out, is the OG Birkin bag, the one owned by actor and singer Jane Birkin. In 1981, Jane was on an Air France flight to London and she was seated next to Jean-Louis Dumas, the then artistic director of Hermès. As she was putting her cabin luggage, back then she used to have this very famous wicker basket that she used to carry around. So as she was putting that basket into the overhead compartment, the contents of that bag spilled onto Dumas' lap. And then I think she had to strike up a conversation and apologize to him. So she complained to him about how handbags of the 80s were just not big enough to cater to her needs as a mother. She then took a vomit bag that is put, in the aircraft near your seat and then sketched a model of the bag that she thought would meet her needs. Dumas then quickly stitched up the bag of her dreams bearing her initials JB on it. It was made with black box leather and gilded brass hardware. And she was very flattered to, receive the bag. I mean, who wouldn't be? So she let Hermès commercialize the design in her name, and lo and behold, the much desired Birkin bag of today was born. The bag became so famous that before she died in 2023, Jane wondered if her name would be associated more with the bag than her as a person and, the career that she's built so far. And maybe she was right in doubting this because today, the OG Birkin bag is the most expensive handbag in the world. And the auction for this bag, which was sold for 86 million euros, barely lasted 10 minutes. I mean, I spend more time on quick commerce apps deciding the brand of the potato chips I want to buy. And if you want to know who won this auction, I am as clueless as you are because the Sotheby's, the fine art broker, did not reveal any details of the buyer. I mean, I think if I bought a bag for 86 crore rupees, maybe I would also not want to disclose my details because I know it would piss a lot of people off. But to my relief, turns out I can't afford a Birkin, so I don't have to worry about this problem now. But if you're still desperate to bag a bag that looks like Birkin, Walmart has a dupe of it, and it's called the Birkin with a W. Dupes in the luxury market are nothing new. In fact, last week, Birkenstock, the German sandal that everyone's wearing right now, went to a court and got its approval to inspect factories in India and seize counterfeit sandals. The social affairs editor at The Hindu, G. Sampath, was joined by the editor of The Hindu's Sunday magazine, Rosella Stephen, and a lawyer who specializes in intellectual property-related issues, Shantanu Sood, to discuss this very issue. We'll link the episode in the description so you can go listen to them, but only after you finish listening to my episode. See, you might have moved on from Wimbledon, but I'm still stuck on Iga Swiatek's strawberry pasta. I mean, what a weird combination, but also I'm itching to try it. And what I've noticed this time around while watching the tournament and definitely not eyeing strawberries and cream that everyone raves about is the omnipresent luxury brand relationships. This is nothing new. I mean, we all have the Roger Federer Rolex partnership imprinted in our heads. However, the scale of these partnerships have significantly gone up, with a lot of brands choosing Wimbledon in particular to announce these partnerships, like Gucci did with Yannick Sinner 2 years ago. I think that's when all of this wave began. So he walked onto the court in Wimbledon with a Gucci bag slung over his shoulders. And I'm pretty sure it violated a couple of rules. But I mean, I also see it, right? Wimbledon has historically been a venue for prestige, elegance, luxury. There's a royal box, for God's sake, in the center court. So its strict dress code and emphasis on decorum amidst sounds of champagne pops makes the brand's messaging stand out. So the brands that are gunning for spotlight at the event really make sense. And if you see almost every high-ranked and up-and-coming player in the ATP Tour. The ATP Tour is the men's tour. All of them have signed up with a luxury brand. 2 years this began with Yannick Sinner and Gucci, and since then many brands have announced their collaborations. Bottega signed with Lorenzo Musetti, Burberry signed with Jack Draper, and Canali signed with Stefano Tsitsipas. Carlos Alcaraz signed with Louis Vuitton, and most of these brands are European, so it's easier for them to pick an all-star player from their home country. I think it's just great for the optics, but it's not always, this way. However, this is not the case with the WTA Tour, which is the women's tour. While, you'd assume that luxury brands' main target audience is women, female tennis athletes barely have any association with brands. Naomi Osaka signed with Louis Vuitton in 2021, but we're really not sure where this stands right now. And two other notable partnerships in the WTA Tour is with Iga and Lancôme and Qinwen Zheng with Dior. Qinwen had to win like an Olympic gold to get this brand deal, I guess. So the disparity might just make one raise their eyebrows, and it's, I think, slightly uncomfortable to look at also. But one existential question does remain. What purpose do these luxury brands really serve? Some luxury goods like handcrafted watches or couture garments demonstrate centuries of skilled labor. But increasingly, luxury as a concept is being indicated through storytelling and narration rather than craft. In that case, the brand becomes less about the object they're trying to market and more about the narrative. So, are we really splurging so much for a narrative? I think we really need to take a look at it. Not me, because I can't afford it again. I think also luxury brands have monopolized aesthetics and beauty. And this, it almost feels like you cannot achieve beauty or attain beauty without any capital in your hands. And they are also increasingly setting tone for what's aspirational, ensuring that no one, veers off and tries something different. To me personally, it is nothing but reinforcing class structure. Fashion can be political, so by taking the narrative of what's trending or shaping narratives of the industry, these brands sort of become the ever-present reminders of class structure. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I did not set out to make this episode this serious, but sometimes the politics of luxury brands really do drive me up the wall, so bear with me. But for now, I think I'm done ranting about luxury brands. We'll move on to something lighter. So few days back, Time magazine released a list of Time 100 creators. A list of creators the magazine claims are redefining how we inform ourselves. The magazine has a series called Time 100. This began in 1999 when the magazine first published the list of 100 most influential people. It was as a result of debate among American academicians, politicians, and journalists. Over the years, it has become a very highly publicized event, and they have diversified into making top 100 lists for almost everything, including podcasts, and as you have seen, creators. Let me read something from the magazine's note about the list to give you some context. The magazine says, in 2024, internet users spent nearly 2.5 hours a day on social media. Much of that time was given over to individuals like those on Time 100 creators. They are among the 67 million content creators globally, forming a multi-$100 billion industry where social media creator revenues are growing 5 times faster than those of traditional media. Almost all the creators featured in this list create content in English, hail from only 15 countries, and are ones who have built their career on digital platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, okay, now it's X, etc. The list features only one person from India, who's Prajakta Kohli, most popularly known as Mostly Sane. Some other notable creators on the list include Hassan Piker, the Twitch streamer who talks politics and has politicians like Bernie Sanders and AOC over on his streams. There's other person on the list includes Sean Evans, the Hot Wings dude on YouTube, who gets actors and singers to eat progressively spicier wings while answering pretty difficult questions, in my opinion. Also, like, if you haven't seen any of his videos, I'm pretty sure you would have probably seen at least one meme from one of his videos. It could be that one with Shaq or one with Paul Rudd. It's quite famous. We also have Jimmy Donaldson, famously known as Mr. Beast for his extremely bizarre YouTube videos. But there's also Joe Rogan, the podcast host of Joe Rogan Experience, who once amplified anti-vaccine sentiments to his followers on his podcast. The list also features Ilona Mar, the rugby player who shot to fame during the Olympics. I personally love her advocacy aimed at women, asking them to focus on just getting strong and instilling a sense of body neutrality that I think is very crucial in today's day and age. Okay, so you get the gist, right? It is a mixed bag. You will nod your head looking at some names, but recoil in horror looking at others. I won't lie though, it was great fun scrolling through these names and seeing why they made it onto the list. One thing this list has made clear though is the legitimization of digital content creators. Once upon a time, long ago, these guys were tucked into corners of the internet with niche fandoms. But today, they are heralded as thought leaders shaping political discourse. I mean, all of us have seen Zoran Mamdani's campaign now. If you don't know who Zoran Mamdani is, are you living under a rock? Because clearly. But no, he's collaborated with a lot of influencers, and I think that got his political campaign a lot of mileage. Sure, these digital platforms democratized voices and have encouraged creators to bypass traditional gatekeepers that have historically manufactured consent. However, it is imperative to admit that the creator economy is highly volatile, with a lot of power resting with the big platforms and its algorithms, the evil big tech companies, if you may. Though these few success stories are incredible, it should not mask the shadow banning of creators and algorithmic exploitation of others. These creators often have to work within unspoken censorship boundaries and often are forced to censor themselves to make it big. Um, I also have a problem with pitching all these creators as digital revolutionaries who are changing the world with their content and bypassing these established gatekeepers, because if we take a closer look, really, these guys are using their followers as some form of ammunition to break into these very established gatekeepers like Hollywood or featuring in TV shows on OTT platforms. I'll give you some examples. Look at the D'Amelio sisters, I hope I pronounced that right, getting a reality show. TikTok stars like Addison Rae kickstarting their music career, or even Prajakta Kohli, who's a lead on a Netflix show right now called Mismatched. Creators have made incremental changes in how we talk about our bodies or approach politics in the neoliberal world. However, it is important to sit up and take note of creators who platform ideas and rhetoric that is harmful and clearly lacks some sort of scientific temper. From an 86 crore handbag to the 100 most influential influencers, today's stories remind us how value, whether in luxury clothes or Instagram reels, is often a reflection of power, perception, and narrative. So next time you're doom scrolling or shopping, maybe ask yourself who benefits from your attention and your money. I'll see you soon, and until then, stay cautious. I don't know. Goodbye. Have fun.